You're muted.
Ah, hello. How are
Hello,
you,
Jero.
Simone?
Hey, nice to see you, Jero.
Nice to see you. Wow, I'm so delighted to have you here. Simone, how are you?
I'm doing well. It's just really a pleasure to see you, to be here. Kind of, um, it's a bit of reconnecting with the Bali spirit.
It is, and I miss you so much.
Uh,
It been how many years? 2 or 3 years, right?
it is actually it's 2 years.
Two years.
It was in May 2018, well, the
Yeah.
first time in 2017, and then I was back in 2018, and I haven't been back since then. I wasn't there last year.
Ah, so you kind of miss your second home, Bali, right?
It is. And with the home, of course, there goes the people go along with the home. So I feel at home when I have the people around me. And it is just so lovely memories of our
Yes,
time together. Mm.
indeed, indeed. I feel the same. I miss you so much. I feel so amazing to have you here with us. And this is a very special moment because we're going to share your journey on Invisi, on NARM, trauma healing, as well on diet meditation.
Yes.
So once again, thank you so much, Simon. And I would like um, to yeah, there's some question already from our viewers. Tapi teman-teman tunggu dulu ya, sabar pertanyaannya nanti kita akan satu persatu sampaikan kepada Simon. Ya, seperti yang saya sudah sampaikan bahwa Simon ini adalah trainer dari NVC, kemudian trainer dari Global Dyad Meditation, dan 6 trauma practitioner. Nanti kita akan ngobrol-ngobrol, sabar dulu, tapi silakan langsung pertanyaannya ditulis saja di kolom komentar. So, Simon, what is your latest activities? Would you share with us?
I'd love to.
Yeah.
I'm just coming off a call with my co-hosts
Mm-hmm.
from the Global Diet Meditation platform. We had a meeting this morning, which we have maybe every 4 or 5 months, and it was just happening this morning. And I'm still really filled with just joy of that community, and those people really dedicated, and they offer their free time because it's people can join for free, so
Mm-hmm.
it's all on a donation basis, and so it's really beautiful to have that sense of being together and contributing to the world in a way that serves us and also serves others. So that's just what I did.
Oh, amazing. So, is that a regular program that you have, you share online, is it?
It is. It started 3 years ago. I had this inspiration. I got to know the Dyads 2008 when I was in a program with Robert Gonzalez, and he implemented the Dyads and also made it more known in the communities for nonviolent communication. And so I got to know it, and then I also offered it at that time. We very often did it just by phone, or we did it on Skype, and Zoom wasn't there yet.
Ah,
So I was used to do this online. And 2017, I had this download, this inspiration of making a platform available worldwide for the whole, for humanity. And we started with once a week. It was on Sunday evenings, Europe time, so it would have been in the middle of the night for Bali.
okay.
But in the meanwhile, we do it every morning at 7 o'clock European time, and I think we have 6 hours difference. So it's 1 o'clock, or in winter it's 2 o'clock for people in Bali, and every morning for about an hour, 15 minutes, or every afternoon. So we have it 2 to 3 times per day. So people can join, can just start their day or sometimes end their days. There are people from Canada. It's the last thing they do before they go to bed. And other people even from New Zealand. It's like evening activities for them. So it's really beautiful. It's a worldwide community that we're just meeting every day on a regular basis. And what I also hear, people say, even if they don't have time to come, just to know there is, it's maybe a little bit like, on Sunday in Europe, you go to church on Sunday or you have your prayer time. And even if you don't have time to do it, there's still people holding the space and there's still the energy going on. So that's what I hear from a lot of people, that they say it's just lovely to know I could if I would. And sometimes they join.
Wow. So are you share the information for people maybe in Bali, even though it's midnight, maybe they would like to join. Is that possible?
So yes, I'm happy to. It's the website. They can sign in on the website. We maybe can post it. It's the Global Dyad meditation.org. And it's not in the middle of the night for Bali. It is 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So we do it at 7 o'clock in the morning. And so it's 6 hours right now. So it is 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And you come to the platform, and then even if you're new, if you sign up, you receive a couple of links so people can watch the little videos, introductions, and then it's something new. Normally we're nervous when we do something new, but it's really lovely to get to know people and also to get to know yourself.
Yeah,
it's really
definitely.
It's a meditation awareness practice in the presence of someone else. And it's a safe, and I call it a safe and sacred space. So even though you might be a little bit nervous in the beginning, you can come, and it's going to be in English. At the moment, we are doing it in English, and some people do it also in German. So, and we have actually, you might remember Suzanne Rosiari.
Yes, I do.
And she is one of the hosts. So she is regularly, she's regularly on, normally she's on Fridays. So she does hosting on Fridays. So it's kind of, Bali is included already by people.
I believe that you and Susan as well, everyone miss Bali and miss the ambience of the IIT, right? I do myself. I miss the moment. I miss the ambience. Wow.
Yeah.
So I would like to share the link on the details of this video. So maybe our friends from around the world who watching the video can access your Dyad meditation. And we will go further on Dyad meditation later very soon. Thank you so much. You already shared the link. I received it. And Simone, as we all know that you are now very busy because you are a CNBC trainer. As well, you are the Global Dyad meditation trainer, and you are non-trauma practitioner, and you are an author of some books as well. Yeah. And how did you start this amazing journey, become a trainer of some of very beautiful knowledge and wisdom? Would you like to share with us?
I'd love to. You know, as most people have this experience probably in their life, it's not something we're looking for, but it's finding us. So the same was for me. I have a background in law. So I studied the law, and then I was working with taxes and stuff like this. So I always call it it's my former life, or let's say it's one of my former lives. I have a sense that I have lived so many lives in this lifetime already. And in 2004, I just came back from Germany, and I was looking for what's next. And by inspiration, I was led to a training in mediation. So I thought, well, maybe that's a good combination between law and listening to people. And there, the lady who offered the training, she gave me the book of Marshall Rosenberg. And I started to read, and I immediately knew, wow, that's something I really want to do, because I had 20 years already of meditation practice. So I could immediately sense that this is not just about communicating, but this has a spiritual background. So I was really intrigued and absolutely happy that I could just focus my whole energy on becoming a trainer. At that time, it was still possible. I was a trainer within 1 year. That's not possible.
1 year.
So I was
you
just
already done the meditation before, right?
I did a lot of, and maybe that's one of the reasons, because, you know, having started then the journey with nonviolent communication, after a couple of years, I noticed there was still something missing. Then I got to know Robert Gonzalez, and he added more the energetic way of how to implement and work with needs. And so with my background, it was like I was a sponge. I could just everything. I could everything like was integrated immediately. And then I learned the Dyads from Robert. And after a couple of years, I realized what I learned in nonviolent communication, and basically it's seen as a communication model, but I think it's much more closer what Kit Miller said. She is the CEO of the Gandhi Institute, and she was learning also NVC. So she said it's actually an awareness practice that is masquerading itself as a communication process. So NVC for me is in one way a spiritual path, because it is all about becoming aware, and it's not about putting blame or judgments out there, but bringing all that back and become aware. That's what I'm doing. And it's not about the world out there, it's it's about the world in here. So it's much more about becoming aware of my patterns and how even my survival structures. So after a while of doing or practicing and living NVC or compassionate communication, I realized there are layers I'm not able to access with my NVC practice. And these are the layers that go much deeper, that go to my biography as a child, my experiences. And it's touching into what we call life experience, painful life experiences or trauma. And I realized that we all carry trauma just by living on this planet in this time. Oops. In this time, it's it can be a traumatic experience. And when we actually have problems with communicating, it's always linked back to unresolved life story, painful story. And so that was the reason, it's also especially because my own experience, I was in a relationship at that time that was really painful for me. And somehow I didn't have access to all my NVC knowledge. So I knew I had to do some more work. Or just to have a closer look on what's underneath. Why is it so difficult in certain situations to really approach all my knowledge? And it was kind of gone. So I started with the NARM, it's a neuroaffective relational model by Dr. Lawrence Heller, and it's on developmental trauma. There's a difference between shock trauma, like something happens and your system is kind of still frozen, and what we are experiencing as children over a long period of time. And then we start to believe who we are. We have these belief systems. We're still frozen some way in our body. So it needs a different approach. And the reason why I chose NARM was because it's also needs related. That's what I really enjoyed. And what I also really enjoyed is the approach that the life force inside of us, or I call it the divine in us, it's always there. And sometimes you can see these little flowers going through concrete. It's so strong that even though we have really painful experiences, that life force is always there, that carries us in our life. And it's part of our spiritual journey. So I found this combination beautiful. So to really connect the nonviolent communication with that concept of needs and coming back to my feelings and knowing they're connected, and then also go deeper with the trauma work and also combine it with the Dyads, so that inquiry and going inside and being in a space and healing. Because for me, the Dyads are much more than just another meditation practice. But maybe we can talk about this a little bit later.
Wow. So those three are really connected, like you mentioned, right? As based on the needs, and it is really based on our inner world, not to put everything to the outside anymore, as we are all mostly doing at this period of time, especially because
no, that's how we learned. That's how we
learned.
grew up.
How we taught, right?
Yeah, that's how we learn. That's kind of, and for me, I always connect this, the word responsibility. I'm responsible for what I'm talking, what I'm saying. I'm responsible for but it's the way how I respond and not how I react. So responding and taking responsibility actually is an act of empowerment. I take back, if I make you responsible for how I feel, how I am, then I'm actually giving away my power. And depending on how you behave and how you do, I feel happy or I feel sad. And this is said so easily, I know, and I'm really know from my own experience how often I'm the blaming one. I want things to be different, but being aware, and that's why it's an awareness practice, being aware. But by this, I'm giving away my power. And when I take back my power, I also go into responsibility. And that's why the whole thing, my whole journey guided me into what I call now spiritual NVC. So I have the basis of NVC, but it's much deeper. One of the first steps in NVC is observation. And a lot of people quote Krishnamurti about this. Observation is the highest form of human intelligence. I haven't found him saying exactly this, but when you go into the teachings of Krishnamurti, he says very clearly, we have to look at things how they are and not how we want them to be. And that's coming back, actually every spiritual teacher says, look at things how they are, then you're in the present moment. And even looking at myself how I am, not how I want me to be, is a form of self-acceptance. That doesn't mean I can change from that perspective, but it means that I, at the beginning, just look at me how things are and how I am. And this is we're pondering just on this in the Dyads right now. Every time when I hear the question, it's this joy. There is a moment of joy when I'm able to just look at me how I am. It's the joy, actually, the joy I have when I look at something beautiful. Something happens inside of me. And even as I say this, because I know I'm talking somehow about it, but I'm also talking from it, it almost brings tears to my eyes, because I look at myself in the beauty and the light I am. And there's nothing that needs to be changed. And that's just the beginning part. And that's just so calming. It's moving. I'm really deeply connecting to who I am inside of me. So that's when I come from that, then I see what observation really means. It's like, look at things how they really are and not how I want them to be, kind of already fixing, changing. And Krishnamurti says, when we're able to do this, it's actually really what happens, what I just explained. There is love emerging inside of me. If I look at things how they are, there is no fear. Because when I have fear, I'm always thinking on into the future. If I have pain, I'm always thinking about the past. So when I'm in that present moment, that's when I'm really deeply connecting, and that's when I'm observing. So you can see the whole thing, what's behind actually, and we can go deeper with all the 4 steps we know in nonviolent communication. We can go deeper with feelings, we can go deeper with needs, and we can go deeper with requests. So by the end, it's self-expression. I am the need, and what I'm doing, I self-express. And it's all within my bubble of awareness. And it's not so much about how you interact. Of course, this is also part of it, but that's the first, I think that's the work we are all called to do. That's part of our spiritual journey.
Wow, it's so beautiful, and it is so deep already, Simone. I believe that our audience now also feel the connection. I do feel the connection when you share. It is so deep, it is so smooth, and it is so encouraging us to be authentic, because most of the time most of us we tend to pretend to be someone else who trying to pleasing others, and we cannot be authentic that much. Especially we are in Bali, we have lots of obligation to do something for the society, and it is a very small place for us to be really authentic with ourselves. And as you mentioned, hopefully our audience will find the inspiration as well, feel the deep connection with their own self, the inner self.
And I think it's not just, I mean, I know the friendliness of Bali people. I've been with so many, so it's like just really feeling at home. And I know this, and I think it's genuine. That's my experience. It's really genuine. And yet there's a lot of obligations, but it doesn't mean that we have to let go of all what we're doing. But if we can change, when we come from a place of, I have to do it, it becomes, it's not so much, it's more a head thing. It's not so much coming from the heart. But if we can reconnect, and when we are, and that's beautiful in NVC, that when we know why are we doing it, and even more, it's not just why are we doing it, but by what we're doing. Like, there is so much beauty, there is so much heartfelt connection, what I experienced when I'm in Bali. So that's genuine. That's just a way of self-expression. So what you're doing becomes a way of expressing yourself. And that's so powerful. And yet there is also a different layer underneath that still needs a lot of healing. And that's just how we are grown up, how we learned. And yes, being nice and being nice and I don't feel like it, it makes me sick.
Yeah, it's like dualism inside, right?
Yes. I mean, that's constant, yes, battle of, do I want, do I don't want? And I think we all know that. I mean, I know that for myself. I really know.
Wow, so interesting, Simone. And if you can say what is the differences, as you mentioned those three knowledge and wisdom that you have learned, and you become the trainer of it, the practitioner of it, and you already applied it to yourself and it works. And as well, you already help many peoples by giving them the training on this. If you can mention what are the differences, if there are any differences
Well,
between those
I'd rather
three.
like to come from the point, where are the commonalities, and then I
Yeah.
can point out a little bit. So as I said, for me, the nonviolent communication is, yes, it is presented as a communication model, so we can learn its skills, we can learn, and already with that, we can really change our conversations, our internal conversations,
Yes.
and also external conversations. But what I mentioned before, for me, it is much more an awareness practice with some skills that help me to put more awareness on that. And the NARM is more that healing of biography, and of course we can also use NVC for that. But in my understanding, the NARM has even a deeper approach to really going deep and being aware of identifications, and then also what we kind of also experience in nonviolent communication, but it's much more, it's that stocked energy in our nervous system, so that energy can be released. And the way of the questions, the way of how I guide and coach someone through an experience like that is a bit different than what I would do with nonviolent communication. And it's definitely different. I'm always in a compassionate and empathic way working with a client. But what I found that sometimes when we're we're familiar in NVC, being empathic or having an empathic, we're asking for needs and feelings. What I learned, and it was a huge aha moment, that sometimes people with trauma, when I go too quickly and ask them, well, are you feeling or are you needing? And I point that out, that this by itself can be too quick.
Okay.
And I want to be and it can be actually like, and sometimes you might have learned that you're so excited about having learned NVC, and then you go, well, do you have a sense of freedom, or do you need something like being heard and being and if we have people who are more introverts and who carry trauma, it's almost it's a tick too quick, and even I would say too quick. So instead of what I learned with NVC, helping people, because normally they are not connected with the needs behind, so I name it for them, that this can be too quick for someone who is in a state of frozenness and trauma. So the approach is, even having this in mind, is not so much that I give you a suggestion on what you might need, that it's more about helping you to find the answer within. And then it is in your pace. And I would say that's one of the main differences, and which was a huge aha moment for me. Even asking someone, well, are you feeling sad right now? And you might have noticed this, sometimes this is like, oh, that's it's too quick to be in that space. So asking then someone, well, how do you feel right now? Might be a more NARM-like approach. So even though you might go into not feeling but thinking, but I'm just staying with that, because your words you're using, they also carry a certain quality. And so I work I'm not doing these differences, but when I learned, I realized, okay, it's a much more subtle way of working with people or accompanying people on their journey. And so the Dyads, when I bring in the Dyads is actually, there is I can completely lay back, and I'm just there holding space for you. And whatever emerges inside of you, I'm being there holding space for you. We do have a question, and you might want to work on some maybe early childhood issue, or maybe something is up that's disturbing you right now. And one way could be, we have an empathic talk, so I help you to get clarity around what's there, or I'm just there holding space and completely trusting in your capability of holding and being there and connecting inside of you and going in that stillness, I would say, and letting things emerge. And yes, that's a skill. So people won't be able, sometimes they won't be able to do this right in the beginning, but there's so many people, they know meditation, and it's just another way of being with each other in a meditation. So I'm using the Dyads to really get more clarity on, when I say I want to be self-responsible and I'm getting stuff back, I'm putting out there. So I'm using the Dyad, used to do this in meditation, but it's just, for me, it's much easier to be in a Dyad because there's the presence of someone else holding the space for me, so I can focus. So, and maybe the result, the results are in all the same or a little bit different, but there's different pathways. And I find it just really helpful to have different tools to support.
Wow. Those three, I think if we learn those three, it feels like, to me, it feels like really guide us into more become full attention, as well to be more patient, not too quick to suggest or guessing, and it make us more mindful to be at the present.
Absolutely. Wow. Yeah. Well, yeah, really nicely said.
Hopefully you will open the training session later on, maybe when we are already have the space regarding the coronavirus and everything. Hopefully the training will be take place in Bali, and I will join that.
And it is we will go with the flow, and for the moment, I think what we're learning, I mean, I've done this for many years. Yeah. I'm active on the internet for many years. That's why it doesn't really make so much of a difference. What I see, what's beautiful is, because we're doing this, we have that lockdown, and we are kind of asked to stay at home. We're connecting much more also over the internet, and there's so many online programs. So I just will finish my spiritual NVC, and I'm going to offer it again. So if we don't have in near future the time to get together in real, there's also those beautiful connections on the internet for those people who are, I mean, it can be on a mobile, it can be on a computer. Of course you need internet, but a lot of places, not most, but a lot of places on the earth are already connected through the internet. So
yes, here in Bali as well. Waiting for that, Simone. We are waiting for that.
I mean, to get together in real and to be in the presence of not just the virtual, but a real human being. It is different. It is definitely has different qualities.
Yes, indeed. And we pray that the coronavirus will be natural very soon, and the life will be go normal like normal. So wonderful that up to this time I really listen to what you saying, Simone. It's already kind of a meditative state to me, because as a coach, I feel that sometimes I kind of too quick to assess the client as well, as because I found that a few same thing from other clients, it made me to be more, what to say, not too patient to wait while they trying to find their own clarity. And it's like a hero come up inside me and would like to help to get them more easier to find it. Now I really assure that it's really beautiful to let them to find their own time to find their own clarity.
And you know, I mean, I can completely understand what you're talking about. It's that, yes, I want to be there of service. I'd like to be helpful. Or sometimes even it comes, well, this client comes and he or she is paying. So I have to be effective within whatever 1 hour. And at the same time, I think it's also really helpful to remind ourselves, it's not me who has to do the work. And that's something I really learned when I did the NARM training. It's not, the more I lay back, you know, there's one thing that really stick to me. Lawrence Heller, who I learned from, he says, when the therapist does more work than the client, something is wrong.
I agree with that.
I completely see that. So it's kind of, I'm working and I'm working and I'm working. And it's because it's something around empowerment. So when I can lay back, when I can create that safe space and trusting in the capacity of my clients to find their way. Of course I'm there, and of course I have my knowledge, and of course I'm holding the space, and I might be a little bit of directive, and I ask the very smart questions and stuff like this. Of course, all that helps, but actually it is, and I think that's very much coming back to, we know, we have an inner knowing. If there is the space, that this inner knowing has space to unfold and emerge. And that's in the end what really helps us to if we want change, or if something, I don't even want to say if we want change, if life itself wants to be expressed in a different way, that's when it happens, and not when I push you there. Of course it can also happen, but you know, the story with the butterfly, if I start to help the butterfly open up, it's going to be going to be there. It's not going to be able to. So it needs that inner fire that then can, and me as a therapist, I'm there to support you in that. So it's a good reminder. If I work but more than the client, something is wrong. I really like that.
Yeah, I like it, and I admit it. It happened to many therapists, to many life coach, because we want to, as you mentioned, we want to make the meeting very effective, and then we forget to more lay down and let the client do the inner work more than the therapist itself. Wow, teman-teman life coach atau teman-teman mentor yang saat ini menonton, baik sekali kita mendapatkan sebuah reminder lagi dan lagi, karena walaupun kita seorang praktisi, kadang ketika kita melihat klien dari perspektif keilmuan yang lain, ada sesuatu yang baru tentu yang kita temukan. Untuk itu, teman-teman yang menonton saat ini, mungkin Anda seorang coach, mentor, atau seorang dosen, seorang pendidik, pengajar, jadi boleh bertanya, karena kita akan ngobrol mendalam dengan Simone tentang berbagai komunikasi mendalam antara mungkin antara murid dengan pengajarnya, dosen dengan mahasiswanya, atau antara klien dengan coach atau terapisnya. Ya, silakan pertanyaannya di kolom komentar. And Simone, I would like to jump into the next question, as I know that you have traveled to many beautiful countries. One of them is Bali and Europe and lots of countries around the world to help people, to empower people. I am one of them when I met you, and you helped me a lot at that time. So I thank you once again. And you, of course, you train many people already from around the world, from many nationalities, and you train them on NVC, diet meditation, NAM, trauma, and you done it for years. How was that? And are there any remarkable moments that you still remember being the witness of the metamorphosis of your client, of your trainee? Please share with us.
I mean, that's, this is like, I think, that's also as a therapist, these are the highlights when you're there and you see people transform and you can see faces change, and then you receive feedback that, yes, their life has changed, or they go home. So there's actually, there's the two parts to it. The one part is me about traveling in the world. I mean, I had the calling to travel, and the way I hold it, and I say this because there's also, of course, the awareness of the impact a lot of travel has when we're traveling the world. The way I hold it is, when I go to places, I always saw it as an exchange of energy. So one thing was that I took in the energy of the place I have been. I kind of really had a sense that this was feeding me and was really helping me to what I cannot say exactly what, but it was, I was fed by those places I've been. And on the other hand, I was feeding the place. So it was an exchange of energy. So sometimes, or very often, what I did when I was in places, I did even, I mean, now we have all this social media. I was doing, when I was on one of what I call the holy places or really energetic spots, I was doing a Facebook Live, because I was kind of then just as a channel, and I was somehow beaming out the energy I was there. So I even noticed this, you're sitting in Bali right now and having all this, and me being here in Europe, there is an exchange of energy more beyond than what we're just sharing. So that's one part of traveling and being, and it's conscious traveling. It's not just wrong. And of course, there's also not only it would be nice to say I only traveled because of that reason. That's not true. I know that. So I also traveled because I just wanted to see and love these other countries. But then, yes, it was also because I was called, we organized the IIT in Bali. It was because I was in Bali, and my partner at the time, he had the idea, said, this is a really good spot to do an IIT, because then people coming to Bali kind of pick up on the energy that Bali brings to the world, and also Bali gets the energy from other people. And then, yes, of course, by sharing what I'm sharing, there had been transformations. It's not so much coming to mind in one of the countries, but when I heard the question, what came to mind, and this is a part I like to share. Once I was traveling to India, and I was meeting with my spiritual teacher, and that was in January. And there was another lady from Germany, and she just lost her son because of suicide. Oh. And she was in so much pain. And a dear friend of mine, she said, well, talk to Simone, because Simone, I learned, and this was one of the techniques or the practices I learned from Marshall, the healing. Marshall called it a healing practice, where the facilitator goes into the energy of that person. Could be father, could be a mother, or could be, in that case, I was connecting with the energy of the sun, and she was talking to me as the sun, as I was the sun. And it was the first time I've done things like I've done other things, but I've never had someone who changed the layers or the dimensions, I call it there. And what was really beautiful, and I was really clear that the message I had for this mother who was so much in pain through that healing was, hey, I'm okay. I'm really okay. I'm not suffering. I'm okay. And it's not your fault. And I didn't just make that up. It was really something that came through me. And I could see how extremely helpful it was for her. And this was in 2012, I think. So 6 or 7 years later, last year, I was in Mount Shasta in California, and we had another gathering with my spiritual community. And she saw me. We haven't seen each other for maybe 6 or 7 years. The first thing, she just ran towards me and she hugged me, and she had tears in her eyes, and she said, you know, I so many times were thinking of you, and I'm still so deeply grateful, because it was so helpful that I kind of could just let go or connect with my son, who then decided to take his life at the time. And that story, I also wrote, co-authored a book with Andrea Pennington in holistic healing. So that's one of the stories that really stood out for me, how just being there, present, knowing some kind of techniques that help us, and then how helpful we can be for other people to just help or be there, so their sorrow, their despair really can become more bearable. I wouldn't say, I don't think it's going away, but it's more bearable. And it's more, a mother who lost her son through suicide really is in a lot of pain. So that's one of the things. And it happened. We both are from Europe. I'm from Switzerland, she's from Germany. It happened in India, and we got reconnected in the United States. So you see, it's this worldwide connection. So that's really, just as I was thinking of it, really a beautiful story.
Wow. It was a great moment, and I'm speechless, because when we are really connected to the divine energy, as you let it happen in India, I do believe that we are all one, actually, from one energy. And what make us cannot sensing the other is because we are too busy on the material thing, and we are so rare time to spare our time to really go deep into the inner divine energy.
And you know, just what you're sharing, the picture behind me, it's there for 2 weeks now, and it came up in one of the Dyads, because this is the Milky Way, and it's in the Monument Valley. It's the Monument Valley in the United States, and in one of the Dyads, we were pondering on being together in loving presence. This, I hadn't had it then yet, but I knew the picture before. It's by John Ermiti, so he won a prize for it. And in my Dyad meditation, this image came up, and I immediately saw myself, and I saw the Milky Way, and I saw the whole universe. And what I had as a deep experience and insight is exactly what you were just mentioning. It's, we are all one, and we are all in that loving presence. So it is loving presence there. And I got this awareness, it's not all what we create, it's man-made and create actually from a distorted mind. When we think of Star Wars and all that war ideas we have, and also how we live life here on this planet. But it's probably because just we want to have this experience, because we're actually coming from that space of loving presence and being together with each other. And we always, the moment, we don't even have to do anything. It's there all the time. But what we can do is let go of the resistance and open up to be allowed to this energy moving through us. And that's absolutely healing. That's we come from that space, and we will go back to that space. And for me, creating heaven on earth is actually becoming aware that this is actually happening.
Wow, that's beautiful.
That's real.
So beautiful said by you, Simone, and hopefully this will encourage all of us to really more live in the heart, like you mentioned in the beginning, to really more live in the heart, from the heart, and really sense it with our energy, and not too much on the head, because the head have so many limitations.
Absolutely. And be kind to oneself if I'm
Yes.
not able to live in the heart. That's part of the game too. I'm not always there. I'm human. I'm a human being.
Yeah, we
but
are.
then just remind, be kind with oneself in whatever situation. I think that's what we're all longing for, that kindness, that loving kindness towards ourselves and towards our human fellow beings.
Yeah, indeed. We all longing for that, especially at this time. We really feel the support of others. Like at the moment, you gave your knowledge, wisdom, as well your time. You dedicated, and we are all so blessed to have this kind of deep conversation. Simone, you mentioned that great story about the mother who lost the son from suicide. And in Bali, like in the beginning of this year, we had sad story that maybe about 3 young mother do the suicide with the kids, 3 kids and 1 mother. She decided to end their life because of, I don't know, maybe because of the stress and too much, and she couldn't handle it anymore. And I believe that most of us actually have or face a very, what to say, a painful moment, as well a difficult moment. And in the knowledge, we know how to handle it. By the knowledge, we know how to handle it. But in action, it's not everyone have that kind of inner encouragement to apply the knowledge, to give the kindness, to do the kindness. What do you see about this? What we are as human lack at the moment?
I think first of all, just it's so much for all the people who are left behind of those families where you just talk. I mean, there's so much pain, there's so much sorrow, there's so much whatever comes up with that. There's probably even people feel guilty about, and I could have done different, and then just having that loss. So it's just really acknowledging that this is absolutely difficult and absolutely painful. And I haven't been in a situation like this, so I don't know. I cannot even, sometimes even the words are not good enough. So it's just really, I think what I'd like to convey to just, I'm there. I'm holding part of as much as I can. I'm there in spirit. And then you know, I don't know. I really don't know. I don't want to go into right and wrong. I think my understanding is to end one's life or even the life of a child. The pain and the sorrow is so big that this is a way of trying to get relief. And I don't know, from, you know, there's one of my person I really love is Anita Morjani. She had a near-death experience when she from cancer, and she was and just so many people who had near-death experience, and my experience in the Dyad of it's a loving energy, it's loving presence. So my understanding is also what's happening when someone dies, there is someone there and there is that loving presence. That's my understanding, and that's also probably also a belief I want to hold on to. And I really believe we're not here just for one lifetime. And I know Bali is Hinduistic, so I know almost a lot of Balinese, not just, but a lot of Balinese have that kind of, we're coming again. It's not just one lifetime. So
reincarnation.
I truly believe that.
You believe that?
I don't even believe that. I know that's true for me. Good. I know that's true for me. It's not a belief. I know that's true for me. So in the whole picture, it is one of many experiences we have. And I even believe we all have gone through experiences where we ended our life or we were killed. So it's, I'd like to put it a little bit into perspective of, yes, it's an incident in time. It's a really sad incident in time. But there's that story, who knows what is good and what is bad? Yeah. I don't know. Wow. I can be with the people who are in pain right now, but it's absolutely not up to me to judge or to say this is the way how it has to be done. I don't know. So I can just be with what's there, what's coming up for me right now. And support, I think it's also a gift to be alive here. It's a huge opportunity to support myself and other people in doing the best we can.
Yeah, the support, the kindness, the loving energy, and that we are all about as a spiritual being. Simone,
you know, just one thought coming through. I think it's also very helpful from what I'm hearing, those people who have connection with people, from what I'm hearing, there's always the message, don't feel sad about me having gone, and don't feel guilty about me having chosen the way, because so many people who are left behind feel guilty about it. So still, normally I'm in a safe and I'm in a good place. Don't feel guilty. And you know, I know we're eternal beings. So even thinking of people, they're somehow, very often they're still around in a different way. But don't blame yourself. Don't put, it's painful. Yes. It's mourn the loss. It's part of a healing process. Deeply mourn the loss, but don't put guilt on yourself. I think that's the message from the other side.
Thank you so much, Simone. Teman-teman, tadi kita ngobrol tentang bahwa ada beberapa kejadian yang tadi sempat kita bicarakan adalah pengalaman Simone ketika ke India, bahwa ada seorang ibu yang kehilangan anaknya karena anaknya bunuh diri. Lalu pada satu momen mereka dipertemukan dan terjadilah proses healing dan menerjemahkan pesan bahwa kematian itu adalah sebuah pesan juga sebetulnya. Dan saya jadi teringat dalam obrolan ini, karena ini adalah obrolan yang mendalam ya. Kalau di live kemarin kita berbicara banyak tentang teknik, tapi hari ini kita berbicara lebih banyak kepada energetik ya. Jadi pesan-pesan secara sadar sebetulnya kita tahu pesan-pesan apa yang sedang berlangsung dalam kehidupan. Dan tadi ketika Simone bercerita begitu, saya jadi teringat dengan seorang ibu yang memilih untuk mengakhiri hidupnya bersama 3 orang putra dan putrinya, jika teman-teman masih ingat kejadian itu. Kemudian ada seorang dokter muda yang memilih mengakhiri hidupnya di sebuah hotel. Itu adalah berita yang kita dengarkan, kalau tidak salah di akhir tahun atau di awal tahun 2020. Semoga pesan-pesan seperti ini tidak hanya berlalu begitu saja, karena ini bisa terjadi kepada siapa saja, bahkan kepada orang yang terdekat dalam hidup kita yang tidak pernah kita perkirakan bahwa dia memiliki beban yang sedemikian besar yang tidak diceritakan karena ada banyak faktor untuk tidak menceritakannya. Dan inilah tujuan dari Self-Love Bali, untuk memberikan satu kesadaran bagi kita semua, bagi saya, bagi teman-teman, bagi keluarga kita, bagi orang-orang yang kita sayang, bahwa support yang bisa kita berikan untuk orang-orang di sekitar kita itu sangat penting. Dan tadi Simone juga mengatakan bagi keluarga yang ditinggalkan diikhlaskan dengan cara tidak perlu merasa bersalah, karena segala sesuatu itu memang terjadi sesuai dengan apa yang sepatutnya. Tetapi catatannya adalah selalu ada pesan penting di balik itu. Well, Simone, I just share what we had on our deep conversation, because I believe that this video will be watched by lots of people. Hopefully, this video, from what you share about your experience as well, become the witness of your client and trainee. It will open up the awareness about the life itself, because the life is not only about material thing, but it is about our soul, it is about energy, it is about our one source. So it is to embrace more love to every home, to everyone around the world. So Simone, and we talk so deep, and what do you feel about what you are doing now? It is part of your life calling. It is because I feel that you really love doing it. That you have your, what to say, your drive from inside. Is it your life calling?
I think I do. Yes, it is. I mean, I was thinking of when I was a little girl. Yes. I used to. We had huge windows, and we had a balcony, and so I was outside at the balcony, and then I watched myself in the window, and I was teaching. I was teaching to people. So I was teaching. I was explaining them, and I was teaching. So I would say yes. Part of my life coming is I'm a teacher. I like to share. I have one of my qualities that I can pick up different things quite quickly and then combine it and do something and explain it and make it accessible, make it easier for people to understand. That I love to do that. It's something that really brings joy to me. So yes, I'm a teacher. I would say also I'm a healer, helping. But in that sense, I also say I'm a healer only when I see myself as part of a bigger thing. It's not me, Simone, doing this. I think that becomes personal. But when I allow to have the healing energy flow through me and really listen, and that's part of listening to my own intuition and trusting. I think that's the part. That's what I like to convey to people and support them. Trust your intuition. Trust your inner guidance. It's not, yes, we learn, but it's trusting your own inner guidance and trusting the life force that comes through you. Trusting the loving presence that's there and moves through you, and being in that flow. That's if that's reawakened, or yes, if that's reawakened in people, they find their own way. So I love doing this. I'm not always in that good space, but I also have my up and downs. But then having a community or having people around you who you can attend to, that's really beautiful. So yeah.
Wow, wonderful. And it is also an encouragement again to people outside there who already feel the energy, who already kind of know the life calling, but still have what to say, a hesitation, a doubt to the self that they can do it their own way. Hopefully they will find the message, and I do believe that they will find the message, Simone, by what you're saying.
I would like to share something with you. That's my prayer book, and I'm also a student in Course in Miracles. Mm-hmm. And one of the prayers in there, and before and I'm really sharing this because it's just so accurate right now, and I hope it is an encouragement for people. So before any interview I have, or even class I have, I do this prayer, and the prayer goes, I'm here to be truly helpful. I'm here to present the divine who sent me. I don't have to worry about what to say or what to do, because the one who sent me will direct me. And this is an encouragement for all those people who have this knowing, who have this feeling that they are here. We all have a purpose, and who hesitate or don't trust or don't believe themselves or think, oh, I have this intuition, or I have this thought, and what does the other person think of me? That's what I really like to encourage people. Start to trust and do it anyhow. And you might be something that the other person is, oops, but very often my experience is when I go, like just this, I hadn't planned on this one, that I'm reading this, and I'm not going to think about it if this is really, I just trust. There was that impulse, it came in, I take my book, I just do it. And when I'm in that flow, very often it is just really a lot of ease. And the message is for someone I don't know, and I don't even have to know. But trust this intuition, trust this, and I think then we're really guided. We're really guided in this.
Wow, beautiful. It's already spread out to the world. Thank you so much, Simone, for the prayer, and it is so accurate, and it is like a synchronicity happen. So we are so blessed. Myself, I'm so blessed.
Yes. I'm so blessed to be here. And it's also, and you know that probably too, it's the audience that calls forth the wisdom and again, I can say, well, yes, it comes through me, it comes through you. I'm listening to what you're sharing, you're listening to what I'm sharing, and that's when the magic happens. So it's just blessing on both sides.
It is. Thank you. So, Simone, and as we are now at the beginning of new normal, in Bali, we are already get used to do our previous work, the college, the daily routine, even though with a very strict SOP on the health protocol. So I would like to know the message from you. What is new normal? And what is new normal? This is really a new beginning of life, I do believe.
You know why I'm laughing? Yes. Because I was thinking of what's coming, what will be there when I hear the question. Yes. And what just came in as the new normal. I was reminded when we started, like in March, when we had the lockdown. Mm-hmm. I was reminded. You probably saw those pictures that nature very quickly restored itself. And then there were those pictures of the dolphins and in Venice again, and the orcas in Wellington. So it's just like, and I think the new normal is a consciousness that when we in our mind, when we give space, when we kind of retreat more and more and give more space to our heart, nature and life itself is restoring, and in a way that it's much more helpful and life-serving to humanity and the whole planet than when we think we're the ones we have to do and we have to figure everything out. So instead of doing all the time, kind of retreating. And I mean, it happens to the whole world. We were all forced to retreat, and maybe we have another way of having to retreat. So I think the new normal is retreating much more and giving the heart much more space. And that's what I'm seeing. And in the meanwhile, till we're really there, there's a lot of stuff that can come up. And we know that from our work. The moment we feel safe and we have that, all that old stuff that hasn't been dealt with comes up. So we're in a time of transformation, and we're going through the fire. We're going through the fire of transformation. And I think there will be even more stuff coming up that has been under the surface, but give space to it. Give space to go back. Don't try to control it. I think that's the new normal. We're giving up a little bit more of control, retreat with what we used to do, and give life itself time to come to the surface and heal itself. Wow. I'm curious. I'm curious. I was surprised that this is going to be my answer. But I like it.
Yes, I do like it. And it's like a global retreat for everyone, because we were too much on the head. We were too much on the target, on the goal, and we forget about the life itself inside. And in Bali, we have a word for this. As we are now at on the Self-Love Bali YouTube channel, and the self-love, if I translate it into a very ancestor world, Balinese ancestor word, it means mulat sarira. Mulat sarira is like spinning into the spinning in the circle into the inner self. It's just like an inner journey. It's like a deep inner journey. This what we are all doing at the moment by the new normal. And but we cannot neglect that most of us now have lots of struggle in terms of the emotion, especially for a person, people who are not really trained themselves to regulate their own emotion. And the most the emotion on the surface mostly is fear, anger, and sadness. Because here in Bali, as you know, our first locomotive economic, it comes from tourism. And for 3 months and more, we've already locked down and all of the tourism facilities are closed. Lots of people who are not fired, but not being paid, and they have to fight for, they have to change how they gain the money, even to feed themselves and the family. So lots of people here now who are working on tourism, they are suffer because they used to have easy money from the tourism, and nowadays they have nothing, and they already bought the house, the cars, and they have to pay monthly, and they couldn't afford it anymore. So the fear, the anger, the sadness, how to deal with that, Simon, based on NVC, based on NARM trauma, based on dyad meditation. Would you give us the guidance, the simple technique that can be used on daily basis?
First I want to honor when we're not in fear, it is really easy to give advice of. So I just really want to say that. So right now I'm not in a fearful state, and I'm also aware of the training I have. When I am in a fearful state, I very quickly go into survival, and I try to figure things out. So learning to, one thing is that this is happening, and again, just observe that this is happening. That's how I do. And what I also try is not to run away from feeling what I'm feeling, because that's, we talked about this earlier when I said looking at things how they are, or taking things how they are, that's then I'm in the present moment. And when I start to become present in the moment, then normally it's somehow of the magic, it disappears. And the reason why I want to be aware of that is that when I'm acting out of fear, I'm acting out of mind, and normally what I decide to do is not really helpful. So when I'm able to be with what's there and just acknowledge, yes, right now I'm just in panic. And that's why I say their practices, whatever helps. One of my practice is having a dyad. Very often when I'm in a dyad and I have the presence of the loving presence of another human being, it helps me to calm down my nervous system. And for me, like also there's two states. Either I'm in fear, or I'm in trust or loving trust, or I'm in just knowing that I'm held, or we could also say I'm in a state of love. The way I'm thinking, and I can change my thinking. And when I change my thinking, I also can change my feeling state, or I can change my feeling state, and then I can my thinking changes. So there is that loop of the way I think, the way I feel, and the way I feel, I start more thinking. So when I think fearful thoughts, I will more likely feel much more fear and panicking, or maybe even can go into aggression, and then I create more of that kind of thinking. So just being aware of that's how the system works. So one thing is having someone I can talk about, looking at things, or also just breathing. So, and it's easy said, I know, because when I'm in that, I start to go like, so I have to slow down. And then I will really suggest, there's like Heart Math Institute, they have these beautiful techniques that I'm breathing, imagining breathing in through my heart and breathing out through my heart. And breathing in and out through my heart, I use I breathe in gratitude. And there is at least, and sometimes I really have to be very strict with my mind that I don't feel gratitude at all right now. Well, then I want to remember that there are times in my life where I could feel, or maybe I don't feel it right now, but I remember that there was a time where I had gratitude. So I go there, and it's practice. It's not happening right away. Or another thing is I have meditation. I have guided meditation with brainwave music that supports me. And then I take my time. I might be in panic, and there are times when I also feel panicking. And then I take my time. I lay down. I plug in and then I'll do the meditation. So it's something I have to do to get out of it. It's not just, sometimes it happens just by grace, but very often it's something that I can do And it's really coming from the wisdom I have when I'm in fear. I create fearful thoughts, and fearful thoughts create even more fear. And decisions coming from that are not really helpful. So I want to be in a state that the decision finds me to go into a direction. And I think if we practice this, we are really guided also again into completely different things. I've never thought of it. I wouldn't think of that good idea when I'm in a fearful state. And I really want to honor it's so difficult when I'm in that state. Mm-hmm. So practice it, not when you're in panic, but practice it before. So for me, why do I daily meditations or daily diets? Because that's a way of practice on a daily basis. Mm-hmm. What will help me, hopefully, when I'm in a state of distress or fear.
Wow, wonderful. It's very practical answer. Teman-teman, tadi Simone mengingatkan kita bahwa penting sekali untuk melakukan daily practice. Praktik hal kecil setiap hari. Kebiasaan kecil, kebiasaan meditasi, mengatur nafas, atau berbicara dengan seseorang yang kita percaya. Berbicara yang mengarah kepada solusi, bukan membahas berulang-ulang permasalahannya sendiri, tetapi mengarah kepada solusi. Kemudian juga melakukan latihan bersyukur seperti yang sudah kita sering bahas dalam self-love. Dan ada beberapa hal yang pasti tadi Simone mengingatkan bahwa penting sekali untuk berlatih rutin setiap hari. Hal kecil yang kita lakukan itu yang akan menjadi senjata pelindung kita, sehingga kita tidak sampai masuk ke dalam rasa takut yang begitu mencekam. Kendati pun sekarang kita berada pada new normal, dan teman-teman yang di pariwisata mengalami ada banyak sekali kehilangan penghasilan, kehilangan rasa aman, karena belum tahu kapan pariwisata Bali akan bangkit kembali. Tentunya dalam momentum new normal ini kita bisa belajar lebih banyak dari kehidupan itu sendiri untuk kehidupan itu sendiri. Dan mudah-mudahan obrolan kita ini sampai di sini pun sudah memberikan inspirasi, encouragement. Kalau teman-teman ada yang mau bertanya, silakan saya coba akan cek ya. Oke. Simone, I would like to say hello to the viewers who are present at the moment. I would like to say hello to Ibu Cok Sawitri, and then Bapak Dewa, and then Simone Smahlun. Selamat sore. And then and then
she's a friend of mine from Germany. Hi, Simone.
Yeah. He said, Vielen Dank, Simone. Terima kasih, Jero. Ya, terima kasih, Simone Smahlun. And then we have Titi Puji Ambulaningsih. So maybe you would like to say hello to them as well, Simone.
Hello, everybody. So, I mean, I don't see you, but I imagine you're seeing us. So,
yes,
kind of out into the space, and just lovely to have you on the call.
Yes, there's some who are watching but not send a message to the comments, so we cannot know who are present. I would just like to say hello to everyone on SELFLOVE Bali channel. Hopefully you find something. If you have any question, please share your question, or you have any thoughts that you would like to share, please. You are open for that. So Simone, you already give us the tips, and before I jump into the next question, I would like to share a beautiful picture here. Please wait a second. Yes, do you see it?
Yes, I can see it.
Okay, and ta-da! Ha! I see a very beautiful smile. You look so amazed, and you have something special. You have a book on your hand, and I believe this is a #1 bestseller on Kindle, right?
It was, yes, it was. You know,
Oh.
they change, of course, every day. But it was when I published it, and of course, it was with the help of all the people who bought it. That then it was for 24, maybe 2 or 3 days. It was #1 in bestseller, which was nice, of course.
Wow! Congratulations! Congratulations! And would you like to share with us about this is your latest book, right? This is the newest.
Yeah, well, it's my first book, that the full book. I have been on book projects before. So as I mentioned before, the holistic healing, which will probably be published in the next couple of months. And it's like I did a little bit pre-work, and now this one was when I had the inspiration about the Global Dyad Meditation Network. I knew I had to write a book, and it took me quite some years now. But now it's written with, of course, the help of many people, and so I'm really happy that now it's finally out. And this is in English, and now we're working on a translation to German, and then probably other languages will follow. So yes, I'm happy about it, that it's there, that I can have it here, so I can hold it in my hands.
Wow!
And, you know, it is what the reason why I wrote it. It was because I want to spread the Dyads, and so it is a book for people who are completely new to the Dyads, who want to know what is it and how to get into it, and also for people who know Dyads and want to start initiating it in their communities, with their families, in their businesses. So it's also, there's a chapter on how to create a workshop, and going through, and lots of questions, and also lots of testimonials of people who do Dyads. And what I'm really happy is also that Robert Gonzalez, who I learned it from, he wrote the foreword. So I'm happy about that. There is also the research is in it by the Max Planck Institute, and I mentioned already the HeartMath Institute. So the former CEO, Bruce Crayer, who is still connected with the HeartMath Institute, I could interview him, and so kind of what I write about the HeartMath is also, and I shared a little bit about their understanding and their research. So it's in the book too, and I will have by August 27, we will have a HeartMath Global Dyad meditation workshop online, just to see how these two can combine with each other. So it's bit of history, how is it, and then also lots of inquiry questions, so people who are new can read it, can go into it, and can even an encouragement to start your own diet group in real or even online if you choose so.
Wow, so you put the how to on the book, right? How to
Absolutely.
initiate on our inner circle, maybe in the family, in the office, right? Wow, yeah. Wonderful. Simone, once again, congratulations. And if for the people and we want to find it, how we can find the book?
I just heard
in Bali?
Yeah, it is because I self-published, so I chose Amazon, but now I heard that especially in Indonesia you can order probably the Kindle, but you cannot order the real book. So if you like to have a real book, I will have to find ways how to get at least a couple of books in real, if some people like to have something in their hand.
Yes.
So I will have to check how I can bring them to Indonesia. So maybe you can order them from one person who is in charge. But I haven't thought about this yet. So I just wanted it to be out by summer solstice, and I want to be the German out by on September 23rd. So it's all in the making.
Yes. Once again, congratulations. And buat teman-teman yang mau dapat bukunya nanti bisa lihat di Amazon ya. Jadi ada versi Kindle-nya. Kemudian nanti kalau misalnya mau dapat buku hard copy-nya nanti sedang dipikirkan caranya bagaimana. Mungkin nanti bisa diatur sistemnya bagaimana. Do you think that you would like to translate it into Bahasa Indonesia so it's become
my idea is I love it to be translated into many different languages.
So I have many friends who are translators, so no worries about that. You can make as an option.
It would be lovely, and I really love to talk about it because it's one thing is the translation, then it also needs, of course, a little bit of editing because I don't know Bahasa, but I really want this. I mean, this is the idea to have this. That's why I wrote it in English, even though I'm German or Swiss German speaking. So from there, it can be translated into other languages. So yes, that would be lovely. I think
we can start new project on that. Lovely, Simone. And as based on your own experience, we are now specifically talk about the Dyad meditation itself, because you mentioned in the previous training when I joined you, and then the way you approach the student, the trainee as well, it seems different. You what to say, you really being there just to listen itself, it's already a powerful company to a person who are in needed. And is that any, I believe that the Dyad meditation, it support you to give that ability to have that patience to really dare and listen carefully to the client, to the trainee. Would you share?
Yes, I mentioned before, for me, the Dyad meditation is not just a new way of meditating. It is much more. It is really, I see it as a gift from heaven. It's a gift from heaven to humanity, and it helps us to heal our connections with each other and our connections with the divine. And it is a skill building. So it's a practice. So we really practice being present with each other, listening and not interfering and interacting, and also giving the space to the other person. So it's being there with someone without having to do anything. And so when two people come together in a dyad, one person asking a question, and then the other person takes the question and it's going in. It's like it's a full body experience. So I hear the question, for example, let's be with that one, being together in loving presence. What emerges, or how is that? So when you receive the question, you don't want to answer it immediately. That's what I learned in school. I hear a question, I want to answer. No, you let the question kind of move you, it sinks in, and then you listen inside of you, what emerges. So being together in loving presence, how is that? I would then just go deeply inside of me and listen. And of course, now I'm also talking. And so if I take a moment, I can pretty quickly, I can feel that there is deep gratitude coming up. And it comes up, I get a little bit of teary eyes, I feel moved, and it's just deep gratitude of, I experience the two of us, and now having the awareness that they are also listeners, being here, listening and holding that space with us, that we're all in that field of loving presence. So I'm just really deeply grateful. And the gratitude goes even beyond being grateful to us and the listeners and the ones in the replay. It's like it's a gratitude to the divine presence that holds us, that and now I'm getting really teary, that allows us, by taking the time, really experience the beauty in being together in loving presence. So this I would do for 5 minutes, and you're being there, just listening, receiving what I say. And after 5 minutes, there is a gong. We say thank you, and then I would ask you the same question. And the whole process goes 40 minutes. So 5 minutes each, so like 8 changes. And by the end, we come together. We can do this on Zoom. We can do this in real life. Normally, when we're doing it on Zoom, by the end, there is a host bringing us into this breakout session. So we're just the two of us, like right now. And then we come together again, and then we'll send out the essence of our dyad energy into the world who needs it. It can be the essence of love. It can be the essence of gratitude. It can be the essence of loving kindness. Just really also being aware of sending out, emanating the energy out into the world, feeding the field we're all in with loving kindness or whatever we are sending out there. And then we have some time to share if people choose so, and some people choose to leave. So that's basically the whole magic, the whole process. And doing this on a regular basis really helps to go deep. We stay with normally I have 4 questions, so we stay with that questions and go deep every day. And if people have only time for once a week, that's wonderful. So they just join once a week. So that's basically the process. I'm giving a little bit more information on how it all came and how it was adapted, and lots of personal experiences from people who are in the Dyads.
Oh, so beautiful. And I can sense it, the connection, the inner connection happen within you. And as well, it's like a mirror to me. It's like a reminder to me. It's like guide me more into the calmness, the stillness, the mindfulness. And I believe this simple practice will help us to be more calm, to be easier to connect to our deep needs as we are.
I call it, I call it, one thing you mentioned, it's like a mirror. Yes, because what's happening here, and I hope we can do some research on it, that there's actually mirror neurons happening. So our brain waves slow down,
Yes.
both. So even you might come and be really agitated, and going together in that space, and I'm connecting inside of me, something happens in your system while I calm down, and something happens in my system when you calm down. Just as you're really agitated, something happens in your system, and I can feel that too. So it's really that coming down and calming into that presence with each other. So yeah.
So if you can recommend to whom this dyad meditation will really help in with age, which age, is there any restriction in terms of age? Or
I haven't done, I think there are some people who have done it with children, and
yes.
I can probably, we couldn't do it like 40 minutes, so it has to be a little bit adapted. So I want to ask also Suzanne if she has tried it out in her school.
Yeah.
So let's see about, I don't know about that. I think she did, but then, I mean, whoever feels called or feels intrigued by what I was sharing or what they was experiencing while I did go a little bit, whoever felt called can go, can just try it out. And it's a bit scary in the beginning because you kind of don't know what's happening and you don't know people. Then, you know, the subtitle of the book, the subtitle of the book is The New Way of Meditating in Times of Loneliness.
Yes.
So it's very accurate. So a lot of people feel lonely, and even feeling lonely when I'm amongst a lot of other people. That's a way of loneliness a lot of people feel, because we're not really sharing from the heart. We're more pretending, or we're having our masks or whatever. But deep inside, we feel lonely. So if you're one of those people, that's a beautiful way to go into connection with other people, and you don't have to interact. It's just the other person being present, and you can connect with inside of you. And then it's also another part, subtitle of the book is not only in times of loneliness, but in times of social stress. And social stress is the other way that, especially people in the West, I don't know so much, but that's what they say, that we are so afraid what other people think of us.
It's happening in the East as well. Here in Bali, it's happened.
So then we start to behave differently, because we're so afraid of, when I dare to show up as who I am with all. I mean, one thing is to show up with all my qualities, but also another thing is to show up as the divine being I am. For me, I find that quite challenging, because that's where I feel that there was painful experiences around when I was a child, to really show up as the divine being I am. And we all are. And then put that into the space, that sacred space, and trusting more and more. That's how I believe that's how we're meant to be, to claim those gifts and sharing those gifts. And then, of course, when I train and when I practice this, it's a skill building. So the more 20 years ago, I would say, or 10 years ago, where I haven't ever known anything about the Dyads or so, I probably wouldn't be able to be on a Zoom call knowing it's broadcasted out into the world. I don't have any control about it, and go into a process where I completely connect inside of me and speak out. So that's practice.
Okay.
That's a skill I practice. So I'm more and more easy with doing it with anyone. So I think that's beautiful, because that's who I am.
Beautiful.
So it's a way of self-expression. So I love it.
Yes, it is beautiful, and you already demonstrated less than 2 minutes, and it's already, we can sense it, we can feel it, we can feel the connection, the mirroring in terms of energetic as well. And Simone, here nowadays there are couples who are in a marriage, who are in relationship. They really want to talk heart to heart, but once they try to start to talk, they are not talking, not do the conversation, but they are fighting. But they are try to to lead others to be on their own way, or to be on their own perception. So I think this Dyad meditation is really recommended to those couples to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's what I'm hearing from couples who do this on a regular basis. It's like, we're not used to express what's really inside of us.
Yes.
So we're talking about it, but we're not really. So great if you have NVC practice, and if you know how to address your feeling and needs, that's beautiful. But what happens in a Dyad, when you have to stick to the format. The format gives you creates that safe space. So you're not talking to you're not relating to each other directly. So that's why I also wrote the book, because I want this to be really clear what is needed to create that safe space. You're not referring to each other. I mean, you could if you decide to do this, but there's a clear way of doing it that creates the safe space. And then in the presence of your partner, you can go inside and talk about things that are inside of you, that are disturbing you, or even lots of joy and lots of love. You can kind of, whatever comes up, and it's creating really an intimate, but I would say an intimate, but not, and I want to say this, not a sexual intimacy. It's more a spiritual intimacy that is being created here of two souls. So when I say we're soul companions in this.
Okay.
And doing this in a committed relationship, it's a beautiful way to really go deep.
Wow, I do myself that I can imagine the result. Jadi teman-teman, buat teman-teman yang saat ini memiliki pasangan, ya, mungkin pacarnya, mungkin dalam pernikahannya, atau bukan hanya hubungan dengan pasangan, mungkin hubungan dengan anak, mungkin hubungan dengan mertua. Jika kita ingin membangun hubungan yang betul-betul kita bisa bicara apa adanya, hati ke hati, latihan Dyad meditation ini bisa menjadi sebuah latihan rutin, karena ini hanya butuh 40 menit sehari. Nanti tekniknya mudah-mudahan akan dibagi lebih detail lagi oleh Simone. Nanti saya akan berikan di details dari video ini. Dan mudah-mudahan dengan begitu komunikasi hati ke hati itu bisa menjadi komunikasi yang lebih murni lagi. Sehingga tidak ada satu orang mendominasi yang satunya atau sebaliknya, ya. Nantikan, tapi kita sudah akan tiba di sesi akhir. Jadi teman-teman, kalau tidak ada yang bertanya, saya akan lanjutkan dengan pertanyaan berikut ini. And Simone, I would like to share another photo, if you don't mind.
I'm curious what you chose.
Okay, is it? Wait a second. Okay. Ta-da! I still remember that moment, yeah. Thank you for the picture. Thank you for your support. I personally would like to thank you once again. You gave me such a huge support just by listening to something that I even cannot say it at that moment. If you still remember.
I do remember. It was right after the IIT had finished, and people were kind of, and we were there, and they said, let's have a photo, and it was just really a really lovely moment. So
yes,
and we both seemed quite happy.
Yeah, we both. Thank you so much once again, Simone. You helped me. It was so deep. Yeah, what you did. It was so deep. Teman-teman, ini menjadi sebuah bagian perjalanan saya sebetulnya dengan Simone. Simone ini banyak membantu saya dalam hal technical, ya, technical, bahwa setiap orang itu memiliki fase ups and down, dan selalu ada orang yang biasanya dikirimkan oleh kehidupan, oleh semesta sebagai sebagai mercusuar, sebagai cahaya untuk kita bisa melihat jalan kita lagi, ya. Ada banyak tantangan dalam kehidupan, tapi teman-teman yang saat ini mengalami apapun tantangannya itu, bisa tentang ekonomi, bisa tentang relationship, bisa tentang hal-hal spiritual, bisa tentang struggle secara emosi, bisa tentang hubungan, apapun itu, percayalah bahwa selalu ada bantuan Kita hanya perlu membuka diri, membuka hati, bantuan itu akan memunculkan dirinya sendiri. And that's what happened to me when I really open myself to really present myself as I am. I can join the IIT, and then I met you, I met the other coaches, the other trainer, and it brought me a lot of joy, as well wisdom, as well knowledge, as well deep connection. That's why we are now able to share here with the people.
I think wasn't your self-love program kind of a part of coming out of all the experiences you had at the MIT? It's beautiful, really beautiful.
Indeed. As at that time, I was really assured that I have the inner knowing, the inner guidance from the divine within me, who said that we cannot sense others' love, others' compassion, until we are really give that compassion to ourselves. And we even cannot share our compassion, our deep love, until we really accept ourselves. So the self-love, the self-acceptance is actually what this is all about. Beautiful. Thank you so much, Simone. And I will share this picture as well. You do still remember this?
Oh, yes.
That was the NVC session. Jadi teman-teman kalau yang penasaran NVC itu seperti apa sih trainingnya, ini saya pilihkan beberapa fotonya ya. Jadi kita melakukan koneksi yang sangat dalam satu dengan lainnya. Jadi kita membangun sebuah keluarga baru. We are in building not only the community but the one big family as the NVC family.
And yes, and we had a lot of fun.
Yes, we had a lot. We dance, we sing together. Yeah, we do some practices that are so amazing. So thank you so much, Simone. And what is your next program, Simone?
Well, the next program is actually very close up. I had the inspiration about 2 weeks ago to do a global online diet intensive. People can stay at home, but we'll meet for 2.5 days. So this will be 31st of July till the 2nd of August. And so people can sign up for that. And those who can join and pay a little bit, that's wonderful. And it's also for people who cannot. So it is for free. And you can join as often as you want. So this is the next. This I can send you the link if you want to send that out. Or people find it actually on the website. On this website, they can go to the store and then they can find it there. So that's the one thing. Then the next thing, as I said, the book will be in German and maybe some other languages. And then there will another
Bahasa
one.
Indonesia as well, hopefully.
Yeah, well, hopefully, yes. So let's see how that would be lovely. It would be so lovely. And then I mean, there's a lot of online trainings coming up again. So Spiritual NVC will be starting again in, I don't know, somewhere in fall and in November. And this one could be also nice, especially for women who want to learn or go into community and working also. I had the inspiration in one of the Dyads to do triads, like we're three women, and we call it Women Coming Together. And it's 3 times 3 days, 3 times 3 hours, every second night. And if people from Indonesia would like to join, they can call. They can contact me, and we can find also a price for them that this works. It's the second time. It's all in English, and it's only for women. and it's beautiful. It's the power of three coming together, the power of three, and it's also, you can also find it on the website. So there's lots of things. I mean, that's one of the nice things. There's so many online stuff people can join. So I love to see some of the listeners and the ones who are here in real online face. So this is kind of just unfolding the next projects that are here.
Congratulations on that, and I'm waiting for the links. I will share it here on the details of the video as well to our social media, because this Zoom also supported by Bali Coaching Institute and with the team, so they will help, as we are now have around about 9,000 alumni and from different scale of ages. They were junior high school, senior high school, up to the adults. So we will share that. Hopefully we can meet regularly, Simone. And do you have any special notes or hopes or anything you would like to say to the audience, to the listeners, to the viewers, and to everyone here as a closing statement? Because I feel that we had so deep conversation in terms of energy, and we do share the beautiful energy. I feel your beautiful energy as well. And please say something as your closing statement to the audience.
Well, first of all, I'm just so happy for the invite. It was so lovely to reconnect with you through this medium and being invited to share what's dear to me, and just also for your presence, being here, asking the questions. I mean, I just realized we had a long talk.
Yes.
And it
2 hours.
It flew by, and it was so deep. So I'm so really deeply grateful to be able to be here and to share what is dear to me. And maybe, I mean, I come back to we live in a world of loving presence, and we don't even have to do anything. But what we can do, we can stop resisting it. So, and be the channel and stop resisting it, because the moment we start resist, we're not actually resist anything out there, but we're resisting ourselves. So when we are able to stay open and whatever is supportive to us, the reminder, we live in a loving presence. That's the energy that is around us. And that's nice. That's nice. So just as a reminder.
Wow, so beautiful and so deep. Simone, I'm so blessed to have you. I'm so delighted. It is an amazing experience. Thank you for the sharing. Thank you for the knowledge, the wisdom you've shared, and as well the stories. It's lots of inspiration inside it. And hopefully, once again, hopefully we can meet by online, do the diet meditation together. I will really excited for that. And I'm requesting for the link that you can share to the others who want to join the diet meditation, and as well the other program provided by Simone. And Simone also has the Facebook. You can follow, you can add for a friend. And do you have any Instagram?
I do, but I'm not active yet, because
All
it's
right.
just so
But
much.
On Facebook,
I know it's so much
active.
time consuming. So
Yes.
right now, I'm still one of the old the old dinosaurs on Facebook.
No, but I have your Facebook, and I would like to share as well the link to the audience. So, Simone, once again, thank you very much. Wish you a blessed moment, wish you a wonderful moment, wish you a great spirit to guide you more to spread the love to all over
Thank you
the world.
so much. And
Thank you so much.
My blessings to you and all the people who were watching and listening and stayed with us until now. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Simone. See you, and hopefully we will translate into Bahasa your book. Okay, bye-bye. Bye-bye. Teman-teman, terima kasih sudah menyaksikan kita dari tadi ya, tidak terasa 2 jam. Jadi sebentar lagi video ini akan kami berikan linknya. Jadi sampai jumpa untuk edisi berikutnya. Nanti lihat pengumumannya, ada siapa yang kita undang. Untuk itu terima kasih banyak. Sampai jumpa. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.